Hello, in this video, we will discuss everything you need to know about personnel files, including what employee documents should be included. Plus, you'll get access to our free downloadable checklists to ensure you have all documents in place for each employee. My name is Jennifer Hartman, and I am the HR staff writer and human resources expert for Fit Small Business. Now, let's get started. A personnel file is a paper or electronic folder that contains HR and payroll documents related to new, existing, or past employees. The documents within an employee personnel file should cover the entire employment lifecycle from offer letters and W 4 forms to performance reviews and termination paperwork. It should also include basic employee documents and compensation information in compliance with federal and state labor laws. Include in your personnel files legal documents, company documents, and employee documents. The legal documents that every employee personnel file should have are basic employee information, such as name, address, phone number, and emergency contact details, IRS tax withholding forms like W 4s and W 9s, payroll and compensation information, including any paycheck or pay card data, contracts or agreements, such as non compete agreements or employment contracts, employee benefits forms like medical enrollment forms and beneficiary agreements, retirement forms like 401k, FSA agreements, and HSA agreements, child support documentation, including any legal or litigation documents, workers' compensation, such as documentation of claims filed, termination documents like documented reasons why the worker was terminated, unemployment documents, or insurance continuation forms such as COBRA. For a full list of payroll forms you may need or more general questions about payroll, take a look at our guide on employer payroll forms or our How to Do Payroll article in the description box below. Company and policy documents should be included in an employee's personnel file so they can be easily accessed by the employee's manager, payroll team, or employee if needed. While not required, these company documents are good to keep on file. These should show when the employee acknowledged or signed certain policy documents in case of legal issues, including the offer letter or employment agreement, signed employee handbook, job description for the position, signed PTO policy plus leave of absence, sick time, and vacation time records, signed non disclosure agreement, and a signed sexual harassment policy. Note that in some states, employees are required to maintain sick time off records. If they're not stored electronically within your payroll system, it's a good idea to keep them in the employee's personnel folder. While you don't have to keep every document in an employee personnel file, it is a good practice to keep documents that are collected upon hire. Additionally, any written performance documents should be kept in a personnel file, as well as the following employee records: job application, resume, references, performance evaluations, warnings and other disciplinary actions, educational transcripts, and goal setting records. Business owners don't always realize the importance of setting up personnel files until they're audited or served with a lawsuit. If you're operating in hindsight and nervous about getting everything set up for employees that already exist, don't stress. Use the two checklists we've provided, along with the steps for you to get your employee file folders set up and in order. Use an employee personnel file checklist to make sure everything is in order. Each person might require their own list. Use a personnel file audit checklist to help keep track of what you've received. Ideally, you should create a personnel file for each employee on the date of hire. Download our free checklist to help you understand what employment records to store. The checklist can be edited to add documents specific to your company. You should complete the following for organizing and storing personnel records to ensure compliance and security. First, you need to take an inventory of what you already have for each employee. Be sure to take into account the documents that you already have and what you need from each employee. Use our employee personnel file checklist to make sure everything is in order. If there are documents on your list that you cannot find in your files, you can request these documents from your employees. Give each employee their individual checklist to show what they need to submit to update their personnel file. Set a due date for all employee documents to be in and complete. Be sure to review each employee's list with them present so that if anything was not submitted, you can address it right away. You will want to store your personnel documents in a file folder marked specifically for each employee by name. We recommend that you keep employee personnel files in a locked cabinet to safeguard confidential information. Access to employee files should be limited to an authorized individual or department whose permission is needed to view the files, such as HR. Documents can also be stored online with an encrypted service. Schedule a periodic review of each employee's personnel file. This can be done when you conduct their annual evaluation. Ensure that the files are accurate, up to date, and complete. If not, you can ask the employee to provide you with the updated files or information. Your business should verify that files are in order prior to any audit, such as payroll or labor. Please note personnel files can be viewed during a government audit or subpoenaed in the event of a wrongful termination lawsuit. Maintaining accurate, up to date files will help you avoid liability. Federal labor laws apply to all employers covered by federal anti discrimination laws, which is typically any employer with 15 or more full time employees. However, the following laws apply to all businesses, and each agency has its own document retention requirements and guidelines. The Equal Employment Opportunity Commission requires that employers keep all personnel or employment records for 1 year from the date of termination. Under the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, employers must keep payroll records for 3 years. Additionally, employers must keep on file any employee benefit plan and any written seniority or merit system for at least 1 year after termination. Under the Fair Labor Standards Act, employers must keep payroll records for at least 3 years. Also, employers must keep for at least 2 years all records that explain the basis for paying different wages to employees. State laws on personnel files revolve around whether or not an employee has a right to look at their personnel file. Many states have a provision that allows employees to request copies of documents in their files. In other states, employees may have to file a lawsuit to see their personnel file. The following states, highlighted in blue, allow employees to see some or all of the documents in their personnel folder. This includes Washington State, Oregon, California, Nevada, Alaska, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Minnesota, Iowa, Louisiana, Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Delaware, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. Please see your state's Department of Labor website for more specific details. Maintaining personnel files is an important part of being an employer and protecting yourself from liability. It's a great way to organize employee data and provide support for human resource decisions. Download our free employee personnel file checklist and personnel file audit checklist below. And for more information on hiring employees, watch our next video on employee onboarding.